and snap your fingers, then you lean back. All out of state, on the day they never seen that. Ain't back, throw and snap your fingers, then you lean back.
Hello, and welcome to Viti Vibes, your very own show which showcases Fijian youth. I am your host, Jolene Prasad, and as always, we encourage our audiences to get involved with our show. So if you would like to participate on the show, feel free to come on board as a host or an interviewer and would like to help behind the scenes. So feel free to as well to reach out to us at vitivibestv@gmail.com or call this number and your ending credits. Moving onwards, the whole world has been observing the invasion of Ukraine in real time due to the existence of social media. As we watch such tragic events take place in our world, today we ask that you keep Ukraine in your thoughts and prayers. The turn of events is on its way to being the most documented war ever because of the huge role social media is playing. And so with all of that in mind, here we are piecing some of expert advice on how to navigate social media and avoid amplifying misinformation during a major unfolding news event such as the attack on Ukraine. You must be skeptical on all the information and images you see online, and you can do a reverse image search as well that will help you figure out if the images are resurfacing or are actually new or old. And you must also be on the lookout for propaganda before you decide to hit or send share on something. Hopefully, these tips will decrease the amount of misinformation that you spread related to these series of events that are unfolding. In other news, it is International Women's Day soon to be taking place on March 6th. And so International Women's Day, or IWD for short, is a global day celebrating the historical, cultural, and political achievements of women and girls all around the world. This day also marks an action for accelerating gender parity. So be sure to celebrate and acknowledge the stellar women in your communities, and not only celebrate on March 6th, but every day after that too. Up next, we have our director, Shannon, so please take a look.
Hello, and welcome back to Viti Vibes TV. I'm your director, Shannon Permal. Thanks for sticking around with us yet another week, and be sure to watch our shows every Thursday at 10 p.m. on Shaw Multicultural channel, or the reruns on Sundays at 4:30 p.m. That being said, we're back here in the studio to talk yet again about another topic. For all of you at home watching this, if you're a post-secondary student like I am, you'll know that it's midterm season upon us, or you might be on reading break and just about to go back into school for your midterms. With that being said, today we're going to be talking about all things related to school, and I'm joined by none other than my lovely hosts and team members, Shivani Naiker and Jolene Prasad. Hey guys.
Hello.
It's nice to have you both join me here today. We're going to be talking a little bit more about our own personal school experiences and kind of about exams and all that sort of stuff. It's a stressful time. I feel stressed even talking about it. But we're here to hopefully relieve some stress and give you guys some solid advice and good tips for studying as well. But first things first, let's go down the line and kind of talk about like what we're in school for, like what grade we're in, like that sort of stuff. So, Shivani, I'll get you to start, and then.
I'm in my second year of post-secondary. I'm going to Douglas. I'm doing general studies right now, but transitioning into sports science and physical education for my diploma, my degree in physical education and coaching, and my minor in criminology, to become a high school PE teacher.
Nice.
Nice. My name is Jolene, and right now I go to SFU, and I'm also studying criminology and a little bit of philosophy as well for a pre-law pathway.
Nice. You all know, I probably talk about my own school experiences and all that sort of good stuff in like little bursts on the episodes as we go on. But I'm actually in my final semester of post-secondary. It's been a long 5.5 years. But yeah, finally in my last semester, I'm doing my major in psychology. So I'm getting my bachelor's in arts and social sciences. And then I also have a background with social justice. So I'm getting that as well as a certification. So that's kind of my background. But yeah, like I guess we're all kind of like on our different phases. You said you're second year, right?
Okay.
And then you're
Third year.
Third year. Oh, okay. So like a little bit like kind of staggering positions.
Yeah.
So how do you guys find like your school experience so far though? Like related to post-secondary? How's it going? Like how do you feel?
For me, it was kind of hard because I started like my one first class was in person, and then after that, like my second semester was all online. So it was a little hard for me to go from online to in person because I didn't really know anybody in my first year, my second year. And
Yeah, because you started school literally right during COVID.
Yeah, and it was like really hard for me to like make friends. It still is very hard for me to make friends.
Oh yeah.
Because like I sit in the little corner because like I don't want to socialize with everybody else because everybody else has their own friends and then there's just me. So I try not to like sit around people as much. I sit in the corner in my safe box and then in every class I get. But like now it's like right now like throughout the like 1 month, 2 months goes by, like I do make friends eventually, but it's okay. Like I'm finding it okay now.
Yeah. But yeah, how's your class sizes are significantly smaller compared to like regular post-secondary institutions like SFU for example, right? So like how has that been? Like you've still been even reserved even in like a smaller space?
It's not like I've been reserved. It's just like at the start in like the first couple weeks I am reserved.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But then with time and like we have to do group assignments, so I have to go and mingle with
Forced
people.
socialization, that's what that is.
Yeah, teachers do forced socialization, so I have to go. But otherwise, like small classes are actually better because it's easier to have one-on-one with a teacher and like easier to ask questions too.
Yeah. No, and I totally relate with that because for me, like Jolene, I know like we both go to the same university.
Right.
So we have full on lecture halls filled with like 300 plus people, right? And I've always had, like, when I first went into post-secondary, like, that was the hardest transition time for me, especially, going from straight high school into that. Because, like, literally, like, you're on your own. Like, there's so many people, like, and I never realized I have so much anxiety, like, raising my hand in class. Like, I'm, like, when I went into post-secondary, I feel like I became super, like, quiet. Like, everyone, like, if you were to meet me in high school, I feel like everyone kind of knew me. And I was, like, obviously, like, doing all the community work. And, like, I was a part of debate clubs, student council, leadership, all this stuff, right? And it's, like, so, like, I was always, like, connecting with people and, like, networking and, like, talking to people, making, like, I knew the school community and the school community kind of knew me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But over here, I'm just like, yeah, I don't want any part of anything.
Yeah.
Like, there's too much. Too many people, I cannot, right? Yeah. So when I see people's posters of, like, run for, like, post-secondary president, I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, I'm sorry, but I cannot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like especially with the COVID pandemic too, like everyone wearing masks and stuff now, like in the big lecture halls, it's even more harder to like communicate with like the prof or like other students too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I totally agree. When did you start? Was it like before COVID? Did you actually get to attend in
just
person?
after the year after COVID, or sorry, the year before COVID started. So
okay, so you got to go in person.
So I did have 1 year in person that was like quite normal. And then after the pandemic hit, same thing as like Shivanji, I had like zero communication with anybody. It's all online, and so we weren't able to go back to school. And so like 2 years have been online for me.
Yeah, no, I kind of had more of an experience being on campus. And Jolene, I know, do you have many classes in like the Burnaby campus?
I have a few, and it's like definitely hard to get.
It's a commuter school, guys. It is known to be a commuter school. It takes me 2 hours to take public transit up there, because there's no point taking a car there, driving yourself, because there's no parking. And if you do find parking, it's $6 an hour. But I think they raised that too now, and so it's like bizarre. Like it's your pockets are running dry. Like, it's hard being a broke college student, but then it's harder like having to even just going to school. But yeah, like I had a couple normal years. I think it was maybe when I was like in my 4th year, like I'd want to say mid 4th year, where I actually like COVID happened, and then we had to switch on to online. Honestly, I feel like that was the best thing that ever happened, like online classes. Like I've had a couple online classes before, even like while I was doing in person, but online classes were just so much better for me personally, because it's like I hated doing the commute up to the school. I don't know if you can relate to that, but it's just like it really saved me a lot of time and a lot of getting ready to go to school and all that sort of stuff, especially during the winter times. Like I've remembered so many times when bus would break down and I'd have to like walk up the school, like that, and we're on a mountain,
right?
So it's like it kind of reminds me of, like, you know how every Fijian parent, they're like, when they tell their stories of how they go to school, "Hama pas juta nera, itna lamba rasta." Like, there's such a long road. I had no shoes.
I walked this much miles.
Yeah, I had to take a horse with me or something. Like, just the most bizarre things. I'm pretty sure, like, they're, like, kind of exaggerating a little bit of it, but it's just so funny. Like, I feel like that was me, and I'm gonna tell my kids that too. I'm gonna be like, I had to walk up a mountain in snow
It's
with
almost
nothing.
the same. It's almost the same.
If you think about it, it's the same sort of situation. But I feel like I'm gonna turn into my parents, or like I'd exaggerate that. Like, I had to go on this much of a journey. But yeah, how was your school experience though so far? How would you say?
It's been like not bad. It's been pretty good. I feel like in the beginning time, you know, before like the pandemic, it was like a lot of fun, and I made a lot of friends with like the students and the classes, and just going in between all the different campuses, because there's like one in Surrey, Vancouver, Burnaby, and then I just feel like when COVID hit, it was all right in the first few times, like online classes, because it was a bit easier and, you know, more calm. But then I just felt a little sad, just like being home and not being able to.
Yeah, because you're confined in your home, right?
Right. Yeah, and just like going out, just like actively going out into the campus and getting involved with all the communities there and all the activities. But you know, I'm kind of glad it's kind of lifting a little bit. But as you said, it is really hard sometimes, though, as well, to get up to the school itself.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, when it was online, it was a good time.
Yeah.
So we could, like,
enjoyed it while it
we
lasted.
could, like, save a little bit of commuting to go up there. But, you know, for, any students that's going to SFU, it is a really great school. But, yeah, it is a commuter school as well, as Shannon said.
Yeah. For me personally, like, I have a kind of, like, I feel like me being me, like I said, I turned into like the kind of quiet, reserved, like antisocial student from going in, like, because it feels like you became like, you were thrown into like I'm a fish, and I got thrown into like a bigger pond, right? And so I feel so small kind of there. And so I feel like I definitely had that, and so it's like I just literally just went to school, came back home. I want nothing to do. Like, I'd stay in my own corner, quietly study. And yeah, that was it. Like, I would just do my own thing. Like, I did obviously meet some people along the way, like had some good study buddies and friends that I made in some classes, but I feel like none of those friendships like lasted as like long. Like, they were semester long friendships,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If they lasted beyond a semester, like I was solid, but they're pretty like short-term friendships that I feel like I found. And it's funny because I recall a lot of my teachers, like in high school, they'd be like, "Oh, you meet your bestest friends like for life at university," and I'm like, but where? I don't know if you guys have like that same sort of like situation happening with you. But yeah, definitely. Today though, we're kind of talking, because it's midterm season now, and oh my gosh, exams, I feel a type of way about them, because I am not the like, I don't test well. I don't, and I will openly admit that I don't test well. If you ask me to write a paper, if you tell me to do a presentation, any like in class or out of class assignment, like, I will be getting things done like spot on. Like, my grades look real good, right? But if you compared it to the grades I get on tests, they are remarkably, significantly different. And it's like, I don't test well because I feel like there's so much anxiety related to testing, and I feel like a lot of these schools, like, they just are always trying to test your knowledge on, or test you on the fact that you can test well, if that made any sense. But like, for me, I hate tests. Like, I hate it. I honestly don't feel like it does too much to prove that you're actually, like, you know what you're talking about, you know what you're learning. There's different kinds of tests, you know, right? But, like, the ones where you just straight up do multiple choice on a Scantron, like, that's... I feel strongly about it. I'm sorry. I feel strongly about it. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know, how do you guys feel about exam period, this season, the test itself? Like, what are your thoughts related to it?
My thoughts for tests, I start freezing. My big thing is, like, I start to freeze, and then the questions I look on the test, it's so different than what we learn. And I hate when teachers do that, when they teach us something else, but then their tests are completely different on things that they didn't teach, but they expect us to learn.
Right.
Like, how the heck are we supposed to learn that when you didn't teach it to us in the first place?
It's like they teach you 2 + 2, and then, like, the test, it's like, what's the circumference of the sun when you have $2 in your pocket and there's a person walking across the street?
Like, how
what?
What do you mean? And then they're gonna be like, "Oh, did you do the work?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did the work, but it's like nothing compared to that."
Nothing correlates, right?
And then it's just like, when it comes to like like multiple choice tests. Oh my god, it's like you're gambling for your life.
Oh.
I do not like it. I hate gambling on the other end, but then like multiple choice is like you're gambling between your grade and your passing, and it's just like I don't know.
You're like, if I get X amount of questions right, I'll pass. Right? I feel like that's every student.
And it's just like, especially like when it's like online too, because I had an online exam before on my reading break. It's just like, okay, and the sucky part is you can't go back.
I hate when teachers do that. I'd rather it all laid out, so at least if there's a question that kind of gives an answer to another one that I hate.
Yeah. It's like I can't go back, and it's just like I don't know what to do, and I'm just like sitting there in my room like this. I'm like, I'm freaking out. I don't know. I can't go back. But then the written was like easy. Like it was open book. It was easy. Okay, fine. But then like
open book exam should be more of a thing,
right?
Right.
But then like multiple choice, I just feel like I'm gambling when it comes to multiple choice.
My biggest pet peeve with multiple choice exam questions is when there's two answers that literally sound exactly the same.
Oh my God.
And it's like, okay, like, what do you expect me to pick? And they're like, oh, it's just because this one was spelled with an A and not an E. Like, was this a spelling test? Like, I didn't know that. I thought this was math. Right? Oh my god, that is my biggest pet peeve related to that. But, Jolene, how do you feel?
I feel like with tests, sometimes the best type of test is like hands-on learning or like the hands-on experience, right? And then that way you can like better remember stuff, and it's like, it's not as it's like, you know, just looking at a piece of paper and just like copying down notes and answers. It's more you get to experience the real life like activities or whatever that's like related to
like
what
projects,
you're studying.
right?
Yeah, or like working with like peers and doing group projects and presenting and all that. I feel like that's like a better type of test that I wish teachers like implemented more.
I feel like definitely like the things that I enjoyed more in my classes were when they're like semester long projects where it's like you actually get to utilize like different bits that you learn throughout the course and like actually make it into like one big project to like hand it in the end, and like especially when it's weighted more towards the project. Like I get too crappy because like something you can plan, you can learn, you can ask questions about. When you're in an exam room, like I never ask questions because it's like you what if the teacher's like, oh, I can't tell you that? Like, you should know this, you should study. Like, okay, damn, you shut me down. Like, I'm never going to ask a question ever again.
I love when teachers actually have, like, a project or an assignment as a final test or something. Because then it shows us how we learn as a student and how we, you know, utilize the information they give us.
Test anxiety is such a big thing that I didn't realize I even developed over the years. Like, it wasn't until, like, maybe my grade 12 year where I've developed such a high level of, like, because we had provincials back in that time, too. So, yeah, like, we, like, basically here in BC, we have, like, a standard, like, few subjects where you have like province-wide tests. And like when we did that, like everyone's like always stressing like you have to do good, you have to do good. Your teachers obviously, because that's like how the way your school gets graded too, right? Like if your school's actually like doing what the curriculum's telling you to do, and just like all this stress is placed on you, and my test anxiety was just through the roof. I could not. Like I would just I just started shaking, and my thing now, even in university, like I just get so anxious in being in a test room that I just literally, like, all I want to do is just write something on, like, just fill out my answers. I don't care if it's wrong, just fill it out and just leave. I just want to leave in the fastest time possible. And, like, I think that's my biggest, like, problem, too, because because they tell you use the whole time, right? Take your time. But I get so, like, paranoid, like, I feel suffocated being in an exam room, and it's just, like, I'm trying to book it as fast as possible.
I know, with that, then you just miss reading half the questions, and you just, like, skip past. And it's just like sometimes for some tests, and especially like when you have labs to do, lab exams, I feel like they don't give enough time. Like there's some tests where they give you so much time that you don't need, and then some tests it's like they give you not enough time that you need. Which is like...
Oh, I've had that happen so many times.
I've had that happen so much with like a biology lab exam. Like it only gave us like 90 minutes, but within like the first 10 minutes went into explaining, and like each section literally takes you more than like an hour. And it's just why?
The time to like answer questions like ratio, always hated that too. Because I always felt like especially recently when there's like more online exams, I feel like I've just been taking up more time, just slowly trying to go through it, just because for the sake that we can't go back on our last question. So I like taking my time, but like I just feel so rushed. Literally, they're trying to make us anxious to be taking tests. But anyways, let's move on to talk about like some studying tips and some things that'll get us through this exam season. So I'll start off by saying, for me, like I definitely like study well in like my own space. Like I feel like for every Fijian family, like, your households are never the quietest place ever.
Yeah, they're never.
So for me, like, I can't do with the noise in my house, so I'll go to like a coffee shop or cafe and like just put my headphones in. Headphones aren't essential for me.
Yeah.
Need my headphones, whether there's music playing or not, just put my headphones in and just like, I'll just do my studying somewhere else, and that's like kind of my space, and I know that's my space and I can focus, right?
Yeah.
So taking out that distraction of like, my little cousins, my like family that's always yelling, oh, Koch, I'll do this, Koch, I'll do that, what are you doing? Right? Like, where are you going? Like, just out, I'm out of there. What are some of your guys' like studying tips?
My cousin always told me to use Quizlet. Quizlet is like a major thing that my cousin told me to use because she's a medical student, and I think she's a certified cupping therapist. So she always told me that if you're taking any science course or any like bio, like any type of course, always use Quizlet because it helps you test all the time, right? And I like doing my homework when there's no one in the house, so like I'm alone. But then that doesn't work. My mom's like, did you clean this? Did you make this? Did you do this? And I'm like, okay.
See, that's why I exit out of the house.
But, like,
so they can't call me, hey, can you just like do this?
Me being the youngest, I can't really like exit out and be like, peace guys, I'm going to study and coming back. I can't do that. But it's just hard. So that's why like I stay most of my time in school and like study as much as I can, get as much as I can throughout the day, and then go home, and then I can just do my other stuff.
Yeah,
so,
definitely
like,
finding a good space.
Yeah, and then I don't have to worry about it. And I feel like taking notes, handwritten notes, are better than like typed out notes because it's muscle memory when you when you write them out, and then it goes into your brain too as you're like writing.
It's also fun, like what I always did, I'd always write my notes up until recently because I just don't have the time of day to do it anymore. So like I used to handwrite all my notes, and I still kept them too. But then afterwards, like right before exam season, so I'd have them all written out and everything. I'd just go and highlight. So it pops out at my head, and hopefully I just keep it. But sometimes it don't happen. But you know what? At least I did it. Julene, what are some of your studying
another
tips?
tip that I would use is also called, I don't know if you guys heard of it before, it's called the Pomodoro Technique. It's where you study for 25 minutes, and then you just take a 5-minute break, and then 25 minutes, 5-minute break. So it's just like you set like a steady time period.
Yeah.
So I've been using that, and that really helps me because I feel like nowadays we're so distracted by our phones and like by our parents and stuff. So it's better to have like a shorter study time and then take a 5-minute break and then study again,
Like
5-minute break. Yeah, space it out.
Yeah.
Instead of cramming like 1 hour studying into like.
Yeah, cramming is the worst thing you could do, but I will say I'm very guilty of it. Like, I feel like everyone at some point in their educational endeavors would do it, but don't recommend. Like, we're trying to help you out in advance. But yeah, I never knew that's the term that they called it. I just always called it like, oh yeah, you just study out or space out your studying. But yeah, what are some of your guys', I'd say, like, essentials for, like, studying? Do you have anything that you keep close to you that you need, like, absolutely when you, like, are studying?
Probably like my headphones, as you said. Like headphones, definitely a notebook, paper and pens. Just trying to think what else I would also need. But I think just like music especially is very important. And it doesn't have to be like pop music or anything. It could just also be like steady relaxation music in the back. Sometimes I like listening to that too.
I've heard white noise. If you play that, I don't know if it's to help you sleep or to help you study. One of the two. Try it out. It might work for one or the other. But I heard having white noise playing would also help. Because it's not like actual music, like lyrics or anything. It's just like a noise in the background just to cancel everything out. What about you, Shivangni?
I used to keep I'm not used to, but like in my classroom when I was in high school, there's this one, so in the PE office upstairs, they used to keep, one of my teachers used to keep like a little stress ball. So sometimes if I go sit up there and like I'm just like either like doing something for my teacher or like just doing something on like just for my like class, I'll just have that in my hand and I'll just like play with it and like do it. And so it's like, oh, I'm like
your stress is going out of one hand.
Yeah, it's going out of both ends. And then there's that. And then for me, I like to have food around me. So like I need to be munching on something.
Now, with that being said, we have some public service announcements for you all, so be sure to jot down these numbers and events. Culta College Reunion 2023 is taking place in July of 2023 in Fiji. If you would like to meet your old classmates and enjoy this day, then you can go onto our Facebook page at Culta Reunion 2023 and sign up, or feel free to call Camilla Singh at 604-537-5123 for further information. A food drive fundraiser in aid of medical treatment for Noor Jahan is taking place on March 27th at Fleetwood Islamic Center. The address is Suite 209, 8484, 162 Street in Surrey. Tickets for chicken plow and tomato chutney are being sold for only $10 per serving. For more information, please call 604-716-5697. And as well, if you have any announcements that you would like our Fijian community to be aware of, please send it to us at vitivibestv@gmail.com. Well, we ran out of time for this episode, but we hope you enjoyed the show as much as we bringing it to you. Remember that Viti Vibes is your show too, and if you would like to be a part of the team, whether that be behind the scenes or in front of the screen, then let us know. We are always looking for energetic young role models from our community who want to make a difference in your community. No show is complete without support from our community, so we are currently looking for sponsors for this show. Please feel free to let us know any sponsorship inquiries. Contact Camilla Singh at 604-537-5123. For in-our-studio guests, please email at vitivibestv@gmail.com or call Shannon at 778-709-2853. You can watch Viti Vibes on the Shaw Multicultural channel every Thursday at 10 p.m. or the reruns on Sundays at 4:30 p.m. For whatever reason, if you do not have Shaw, then do not worry because we also upload all of our shows online to our YouTube channel called Viti Vibes. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and then share the videos with your friends and family. Also, make sure to follow us on our social media for exclusive behind-the-scenes content, updates, and guest reveals for the show. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook, again at Viti Vibes TV. Finally, before we leave, I will leave you with these thoughts by Helen Keller. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. And so with that being said, thank you all for tuning in, and we will all see you next time. I'm your host, Jillian Prasad, signing off.
Let's go, yeah. All out of state, 20 man, they never seen that. Ain't fat, Joe, and shake your fingers, then you lean back.